Hi, everyone. I'm here to talk about all things OCD and anxiety, and really to share a new perspective on OCD, and one that I've come by in the last few years that has really radically changed my life, helped quiet my mind, and really find freedom around some pretty troubling thoughts. So if you're struggling with OCD or anxiety or know people that are, hopefully some of what I share in these videos will be of help. And really what I want to talk about is what if fixing, for lack of a better word, our OCD or anxiety or anxious feelings and thoughts wasn't about doing. What if there wasn't anything to actually do, but it was more about seeing how our minds really work, seeing how our thoughts really work, seeing how life really works. What if that was what could give us freedom? So this is based on personal experience, seeing lots of other find relief this way as well. So that's the question that I pose. Today, I want to just delve right into a topic that is kind of at the core of obsessive compulsive disorder, and that's the thoughts that arise, the nature of the thoughts that come up. Now, we've all heard there's lots of different kinds of thoughts that people struggle with OCD. It comes in a lot of different varieties. It's not just contamination based. There are many, many, many. All you need to do is go online and you can find lists of them. And I think the most important thing to look at is the content of these thoughts and how those who have struggled with OCD and maybe still are, how easy it is to get into the content of these thoughts. Now, these thoughts are scary, they are irrational, they are troubling, sometimes they're very violent or graphic. And so it's very natural that when these thoughts come up, that anybody would be worried and would question them and would be concerned that they're having them. That is a very natural thing that would happen to anybody. When these troubling thoughts, a troubling thought arises that is a new, unusual, maybe frightening thought, isn't it normal that people would question that? But also that they would be scared by it and wonder, why are they having this thought? Why did this come up? What does it mean? And what does it mean about me? What does it say about me that I have this thought? It's all one and the same. We have a thought, immediately it must mean something about me. Maybe the nature of the thought means something about me, or the fact that I had this thought means something's wrong with me. That's usually the starting point for people that have OCD, anxiety, or actually a lot of errant thoughts that come up. Now, the thing is, when these scary thoughts come up, people want to go into them naturally. They want to understand, well, what does this mean? And what if I have a thought, let's say, of harming somebody in my family? Well, what and why? And I need to get away from that, and I need to make sure that doesn't happen. And then compulsions come in to make sure that that doesn't happen. So it's a natural instinct or reaction, let's say, to want to go in to understand these thoughts and to get into the actual content of what those thoughts are. But that's the trap. And that's why OCD can be so sticky, because people want to get into the thoughts, figure them out, try to understand them, try to fix them. And it just gets us in these loops of, I don't understand. How do I get rid of this? Why isn't this working? And there we're often running on trying to solve this problem that we now have. Now, what if these thoughts arose through no choice of our own? They appeared randomly. What if these were actually random thoughts? Because if that content was truly you, who you were at your inner essence, your spiritual nature, whatever you want to call it, that deep place in you that's full of clarity and wisdom. If those thoughts were really who you were, well, why would they be so distasteful? Why would we want to shove them away like we do? They would feel comfortable and peaceful and at home and great, welcoming. What's the problem? This feels very aligned with who I am. But that's not what happens. We immediately want to shove these away. I think that's a tip off that something's not right. They are intrusive. They're coming into. So if we start to look at, well, why do I want to push these away so much? If they truly were aligned with who I am, then they should be welcome, but they're not. So what if these thoughts were truly irrational, random thoughts that came up that we did not put there? That it was the mind's way of always wanting to protect us. And we'll talk a lot about that in these videos. So content says absolutely nothing about who you are. And the content is also a powerful distraction from the present moment and from what we're dealing with right now. These scary, unusual thoughts we want to push away, we end up getting really sucked into because of the nature of them and the content. They immediately draw us away from what's happening right now. And what if that's where the gold was? The gold was in right now. The gold was in staying with what's happening now. And understanding that there's no danger in that, in whatever's arising. For me personally, when I went away to college at the age of 19, I say the wheels came off. I had some severe intrusive thoughts. And they bothered me so much that I was depressed most of my freshman year of college. And since then, that's started my journey of wanting to figure out what was going on. How could I feel better? How could I fix myself? How could I stop having these thoughts? Thoughts arose, and I believed them and felt they meant something. They said something about me. They were wrong. I needed to get rid of them. In that moment, in truth, I was moving across country for college. I was leaving my family, my nest, my support, my community, my small town, and going all the way across country. Talk about as big a change as you can get. Of course, there was going to be a lot of energy around that, a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts. It was a big change. So if I could have been looking back now to realize that's what was happening, that was the moment that was happening. If I had had the understanding to see, okay, that's what's happening now. It's a busy time for me. Of course, there's going to be a lot happening. But what happened was a thought arose. I believed it, and I was so distracted from what was happening. My mind told a story about wanting to keep me safe from whatever it felt was arising that it didn't like. Let's go on another journey. So if these thoughts were anything but random thoughts that come up, that arise and move through us, then OCD would be a very solid condition. Those thoughts would never change. They would always be there. We would be experiencing the same thing all the time. And I know it can feel like that. And we do feel like these thoughts are with us all the time and we never have another thought. I would challenge that. Even in those moments where it's this is all I think about. I can't get rid of this thought. It's all I ever have. Are there moments in your day where you're feeding your dog and you're thinking about the food that's going to go in that dog bowl? When you're on the phone with somebody, When there's a fire alarm that goes off and you have to run out of your apartment? Are there moments you can look for that show actually I'm not always having the same thought? So that's where I'll leave you today. And I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time.